have a little more snow than others. I was telling Kim Lewis at Carville this morning that I saw Lewis, Delaware featured on this morning's this morning's national news for the snowfall, and they had a big picture of the sky and the snow coming down fast and furious. So I Lewis has made it into national news this morning for the snowfall, although from what I heard at Carville, the roads weren't covered and it really wasn't bad. But we were in the news today and not in a bad way. So welcome to First Friday, and appreciate everybody joining us. And we're just going to have a quick meeting this morning by our Zoom technology, and I want to bring you up to date on a couple key items that are going on and happening. And so we're going to start there, and I'm just pleased to have everybody be a part of this. I know some folks are at various places that couldn't join us, but glad to have those of you who are here, and I see Alice has the record button set, so we're good to go. So the first thing I want to talk, some things on the agenda for today. I want to talk about our staffing update and where we are on a couple things there. And then I want to share our budget situation for the college and what the dean has shared with us and what we're focusing on at an administrative level with that. And then following that, talk a little bit about the staffing plan that we've had to work on and just share some big parts of that and what that discussion is. And then we're going to wrap up with some of your peers who are going to share how they are capturing data to put into the planning and reporting system. So this is kind of one of those networking where it's a good time of year to get started reporting right away. And I know I had one of our staff members, who I won't identify, who said, I'm never going to let it go to the end of the year to do all that again. And so we thought it would be great to have some folks share what they're doing, how they are doing that, and everybody's doing it differently, but maybe there would be an idea that would be helpful to you. So there are the topics we're going to cover today, and let me get started with first with a staffing update. I want to welcome Jen Clem, who is not new to us, as she was the administrative assistant in the Kent County office. Jen has taken on a new role in our grants and contracts office, and we're delighted to have her doing that. She fills the position formerly held by Linda Yu, and that position is primarily responsible for cooperative extension grants and contracts work. And so with our state and federal funding also being considered grants in our university system, that's a huge thing. So it's all our individual grants that we're doing with the various partners that we're seeking funding from, as well as our state and federal. So I'm very pleased to have Jen stepping into that role. And I would have introduced you to Jen on the webcam this morning, but Jen is in Kent County helping to interview for her successor. So I know we have a number of folks from Kent County who are involved in those interviews, even as we speak, and we'll catch up with them, but we're delighted to have Jen there. Jen is now going to be based out of the Carville Research and Extension Center, and she'll be working out of there most days. She'll be in Newark 1 day a week with that, and she is currently working out of Kent on a periodic basis until we get a new hire in there helping us transition and keep things going in that Kent County office. So we welcome Jen Clem to this new role, and hope that you will congratulate her on that. And what's important for each one of you individually is that Kathy and Jen have reworked our contact lists, given the location of where Jen's going to be for her office, and with Kathy Lyons here on campus. We have reworked the listing of who is going to contact what agent, staff, and faculty contact Kathy Lyons for grants help, and which ones contact Jen. For the most part, most of you are contacting Jen. So in this week's Directors Weekly, there will be a sheet where you can find your name and who you are to contact. And I didn't think I would do that online today because everybody would be searching for their name and their list. But it will be attached to Directors Weekly, and that will be your personal go-to person for grants and contracts. And I think it's great that we have that support and that kind of help. And it is slightly different than it was in the past. So please take a look at that when that comes out today in Directors Weekly, and you'll have who your contacts are. So the second person I want to introduce is on with us this morning, and it's Catherine Hamrick. And Catherine, welcome. Catherine, if you can uh, do your audio down in the bottom left-hand corner, not audio, but your screen, you know how to do this. Yeah, you can appear, and maybe Catherine is joining us as the communications manager. She started this week. We're pleased that she could start quickly after the offer was made. The dean announced this in his blog yesterday, but she's quickly been getting on the job. And Catherine, I know we didn't talk about this, but do you just want to say a few words of hello and what you're about to the extension staff that are gathered with us this morning?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for the warm welcome. I've met a few people in your group. I am so excited about what you all do on the ground. Coming into this job, I can say in my past history, I've often worked with professionals who have come out of extension and shifted into communications in the media world. So you're all about family farm lifestyle, so many food, so many pieces, health, and I'm looking forward to meeting you in the next couple of weeks and coming out to see who you are and what you're about and listen to your stories. And if I may be of assistance, please contact me. I think my email just went live.
And so, Catherine, do you know what your email will be? Can you share with us what your email will be?
Yes, I'll spell it out for you. At the moment, it should be chamrick@udel.edu, and that is spelled CHAMRICK. Exactly, it appears on the Zoom. If you can see my name there, okay? C. Hamrick.
Great. Well, thank you so much, Catherine. I can see the delay. When we were doing Skype interviews, we had a delay with Catherine. It threw us all for a loop. She was done talking from her location, and we were watching, and she's like, is anybody out there? Because we're just staring at the screen because we're still listening to her. So I see we have a little bit of delay, and you're just across the hall this morning. But welcome aboard. We're really excited to have you here. It's great to be able to Zoom and for people to meet you face-to-face this morning. And Catherine's planning to get out to the county offices and to see where you're working and where you're doing. She's going to be coming out to some programs. Please provide your program leaders with some meetings that Catherine might be able to attend to get to see Extension in action and get to know what we're doing. And the program leaders have been requesting that, and we'll be sharing that with Catherine. And she'll be joining us at our administrative team meetings and getting to know Extension as we move forward. I've already had the chance to meet with Catherine, and we put some things on the agenda that were priorities for her and for the communications team, and she's working that into her many pages of lists that she's getting from everybody as she greets them this week. So welcome, Catherine. Delight to have you across the hall and to be able to hear your voice in the morning, and we'll look forward to working with you as we step ahead. And thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
So I think that's where we are with our staffing update in terms of what I need to provide that. We'll hopefully have a new staff member in Kent County coming up shortly, and as they do that search today, and we'll get that position in place. So that's the information on that. I want to move next to talking about the budget situation in the college and where we're currently at least from the conversations through yesterday. The dean's just coming back from a 2-day retreat with all the other deans and the provost, and discussions that they're having, and also trying to get in line with what our new president, Dennis Asanas, and what his direction for the university will be. But at the present time, we're operating under some information about a new budget model that has been worked on here at the university for the past 2 years relative to the model the RBB model that we're currently looking at and have been functioning under. And the current model that we've been functioning under has really focused on research. It's incentivized research as part of that model, and that was part of the focus of the university in terms of being a research institution and promoting ourselves as a research institution, and so that was the incentive in that. There were 3 of our colleges across the university that benefited the most from that that model, and that was our college, Earth, Ocean, Environment, and then focused in research in these three colleges. So it shouldn't be any surprise then that the other colleges weren't as happy with that budget model as we might have been because of the research incentive. There has been a state across the university task force has been working on this and what tweaks we would make to the model and which direction we would go in revising, because there were issues with that and it was pretty complex, and how we could simplify that. And the recommendation that's come forward and has now been accepted at the university level is to go into effect in 2017. So we are still working on the present budget model that we have, but we're running a parallel program and comparing how the current model compares to the past and to the future model and what that looks like, so we have a feeling of how that works for the college. This new model incentivizes teaching versus research. And so it does impact our college and those who were the heavy research colleges differently and in a different way than the past model. It also is a positive way in terms of how it counts state resources. So the cooperative extension funding and the other state funding that our college receives are seen in a positive way in this model. So there's pros and cons of the model, but it is a tweaking of the model, and the plans are to move to this model at this time before Sonis gets here. The plans are that we are going to move into this in 2017. So the dean and the financial staff have done some looking at what this impact would be for our college. And the impact for us in the longer run is that by 2018, we would be running in a deficit under this current model as we're currently operating. And that deficit would be about $600,000 deficit for the 2018 year. We can get through 2017, but we would be running in deficit for 2018. And that's factoring in all kinds of variables that we can't definitely know for 2018, what the collective bargaining agreement will be, what guessing at our healthcare costs, looking at what our potential retirements will be, looking at all those kinds of factors just in a way you do a budget forecast. You don't have all the details. So the dean has asked each of us as a department unit, both the academic units and cooperative extension, to come up with a staffing plan, and which I'm going to share next. But the outcome of this is that as a college, we are going to be looking at this new budget model in a retreat coming up in April or May. As that retreat is set, maybe I haven't seen any dates for March, so I'm assuming it's going to be April. We'll look at that as a college and each of our unit staffing plans, and then all the variables that go into the budget, and we'll be doing some considering of what changes we need to make as a college to operate in a positive scenario in this new budget model. So I'm pleased that we're looking ahead. We feel it by working ahead and forecasting ahead and having the months to work ahead, we can make the adjustments that we need to be. The major impact for cooperative extension as a part of this budget model is the consideration of where we go with staffing. And so what we're pursuing for the college is that, since that's one of our major criteria and variables in any budget model, is that we would consider all staffing will come back to the college for consideration as they have been before we fill those positions, knowing that we may not be able to fill every opening that we have in the future in this new budget model. And so we will have this conversation before we move forward with filling future positions. So for cooperative extension, that's important, as we know we have anticipated retirements that are coming up this year, and our ability to fill those positions will first go through this conversation within the department's level and an understanding of that, and then a decision making about filling those positions. So it's just an updating that where we are today. Again, this is a changing variable as we wait on a new president to come in, and if indeed we stick with the model, that's what we know at this point. That's what we're working from at this point. And the dean and I both feel that we need to just move forward with the information we have and what we know and do some planning, that there's no downside to doing some planning and forecasting about how we would work in this budget model as we move forward. So that's the plan for that. So next, I want to share with you then some of the pieces of the staffing plan that we need to submit. The staffing plan was developed with input from the leadership team. I obviously have some data on our current staff, and I want to share with you, because there's no secrets about this in terms of our staffing plan. This was we were to take a look at our current staff and the design that we have, the number of FTEs that we have, how we're using those, and forecast what we might need in the next 5 years. And so that includes a lot of variables like potential retirements that we might have, changes in positions that we might have, and what our future needs are for staffing. And so as difficult as that is to do, my crystal ball's never really clear. It always has some clouds in it. We have done the beginning work of that, and I want to share a bit of that with you now. So I'm going to go to sharing my screen, if I can find it here in a minute, and I stop my video and share my screen here. And let me find where this is. And I think you should be seeing now some things about our staffing model. And this is taken directly from what was submitted. So you'll see that we talked, one of the parts of our plan of work was to talk about our current FTEs and what we have. And we do have here, one of the pieces we put in is how we're currently using our FTEs. So some of you will recognize this information from our planning and reporting system. And we have 10 plans of work in cooperative extension. And as this goes towards federal and the college major goals, we report this under 4 major areas. So I just thought it'd be helpful for you to see how we're currently reporting out what we're doing. In extension, under goal, what's considered our federal goal 1, which is about sustainable production system for ag and urban landscapes. And this incorporates both our plan of work in profitable and competitive ag and best production practice management practices and the local urban food production access plans of work where you report. We're reporting 13.6 FTEs in this program, and that should say year should be 2015. I don't know why that's not changed in this slide and whether we missed that in the report. I need to get that fixed. But that's 2015. We had 13.6 there. In the second area, which is safe and secure food supply, there were 7.2 FTEs. In our volunteer and leadership development work, our STEM work, and farm and small business and resource management work, we're reporting 12.4 FTEs. And in the area of environmental stewardship and changing climate, we're reporting 6.9 FTEs of work that are there. Now this is coming directly out of our planning and reporting system, and this is the data from how you entered your time into those plan of work for the last year. So I know that some of your program leaders will be talking to you about this. We've discussed it in our leadership team that it's important for you to consider if you're doing work such, say, for example, on ag production, but some of that relates to the work that's related to environmental stewardship, that you might need to divide that time. Maybe a whole day doesn't go to ag production, but a part of a day then goes to the environmental stewardship so that we can get a more accurate look at how we're spending our FTEs. The leadership team projected that ultimately 5 years from now, we would be doing this more equally across these 4 program areas, and that we might have 10 FTEs in each of these areas in 5 years. And 10 FTEs are, again, that is the number of days that you put into the system in terms of reporting between 180 and 220 days. Then we divide that by how we the number of days, and we get the FTEs from there. So I just wanted you to know this is what's coming out of the reporting system, and this is part of our staffing plan and looking where we are. The second thing we submitted in our staffing plan was a look at future staffing discussion is factors that influence our decisions. And some of that is unfilled positions. And these are positions that have been unfilled since I've been here. So next month, that's 4 years. And we have these positions that have been unfilled in the last 4 years where we haven't filled them. And this is how we've managed budget shortfalls, increasing expenses for salary, increasing expenses for benefits and fringes, and no increases in, not significant increases in state. Although my second year we did get some restored funding that helped us at that time. But we have lost 2.5 FTEs that largely have come out of the applied economics and statistics area. And we still have Lori, but part of Lori's time is now on a grant, and so that's where that 0.5 FTE comes from. We have lost an FTE, or a full-time equivalent in our community development work and community facilitation. A retirement reduced us in 1 FTE in the FCS area that was doing parent education. And with the filling of Doug Krause in our program leader position, we have lost an FTE in youth development in Kent County. So some of these things factor into our planning about staffing and what we've done. What I'm not showing you is just a look at the age of our staff and the years of service and who has potential for retirement. And I didn't want to throw that up here because that's a lot of personal information. But we also looked at what the potential for retirement is in our organization and what we anticipate in the next 5 years. And so that was factors that also influenced our staffing plan. We also talked about what we need. We noted that we've added the program associate classification, which gives us a new type of employee that we can hire, but recognizing that we need to continue to have types of positions that work with our grants and contracts work as we continue to increase that as a source of our funding. And we need to look at different funding streams, including cost recovery, to maintain our FTEs. So with all that kind of information, and I really am pulling right from the report here, this is what we went into our projected needs. And this is what was submitted to the dean in terms of our immediate needs and short-term anticipated and more longer-term anticipated. We talked here about having some needs immediately for retirements that we anticipate in entomology and agronomy. And many of you have been part of some initial work that we've done in addressing the needs for those program areas. And we've talked about a health faculty position that would replace focusing in the health arena. And we've also noted a business officer type position, which is something that we've been talking about across the counties and the director's office. Every other unit is working with a business administrative position, and we're the only unit working without that. We're going to be taking a look at that with the counties and leadership team in the upcoming weeks, and how we might best bring some efficiency by doing a position of that type. The short-term anticipated then leans to all the other variables that we talked to. It also goes back to our extension master plan that we did 3 years ago, where we've identified some of these things. And you'll see we've listed across program areas some of the needs that we anticipate that we'll have through either retirements or just programmatic needs that will shift, and where we need some additional resources to have this. And we've also noted that for our support staff positions, as we have retirements, we can't get any leaner than we presently are in both our support staff and our agent specialist piece. So we hope to maintain what we have despite increasing cost. And then we also have some longer term pieces that are here in terms of what our needs are around what we expect longer term. And the idea is we'll now look at our list of staffing needs along with the academic units, and we'll see where there's commonality and the opportunity to hire where we have efficiency for both the academic units and the extension units, where we might combine our interests and move forward with that. And that's currently what's happening with the entomology and agronomy discussions, and that's where we're going. So I'll stop sharing my screen at this point and just come back and take a pause and ask if there's any further questions that you want to ask at this point around the staffing plan. And I'm not seeming to get back to the stop sharing and get back to the screen here. I think I can get this done. I seem to have lost it. Alice has given me some technical assistance here. I've lost the, there we go. You see Alice is here. She always saves the day. So, and I'm not sure why I have that there either, but been having the phone piece here. So can I, is there, in the chat, is there any, I don't see any comments or questions coming into the chat pod. I'll assume while I've been fumbling around here with the screen, we haven't identified anything there. But as we talk through this, you're welcome to put that in place, and I'd be happy to respond to any questions that you have around that staffing plan. It's really tough to do. We like everything that we have and where we're going, and you know, without additional resources, it's hard to anticipate what we could do new, and it's going to mean thinking about every time we have an opening, how does this align with what our needs are, and how might we readjust when we have those opportunities. So that's what that will be for. So again, you can feel free to open your audio and ask any questions, or type something in the chat and we'll take a look at that. And you can do that anytime. I'm going to switch now to our final discussion point for this morning, and that's about our reporting system. I want you to know I'm reading each of your narratives that are coming in. Some of them are extremely well written and exciting narratives. We're starting to look at those for you daily stories, for success stories that we can post to the web. Obviously, I'm getting them ready. Our federal report is due April 1st, and we'll be doing that. Our communications team is editing for us those stories as well. But I know that it's still a challenge to get this reporting done among everything else that you're doing to fill in that reporting system. But we're beginning to rely on that for things like staffing plans and for discussion about where we're going, and for our reporting, and for our impact database. So it's important that we do get a handle on doing some good reporting. So I've asked a number of different staff, some who couldn't be with us today, but I've asked a number of different staff to just share with us how they're tracking this, how they're doing this, in that recognition that there is no one right way, that there's multiple ways, and it's going to be a matter of what works right for you. So we thought it might be helpful, the leadership team thought it might be helpful to have some of our staff just share what they're doing, to give you perhaps ideas of another way that you might want to do this, or an idea that you might try, since we never really have time to network and talk about some of these kinds of things. So I'd like to turn this over at this point to Philip Sylvester, who's one of the folks in Kent office, and I've just asked him to share how he's tracking things. So Philip, if you're able to start your video and your audio, and I just ask you to share what you're doing at this point in time. Appreciate that very much, Philip.
Yeah, no problem. Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
All right, great. So I'm pretty much tracking. I don't know if you want me to share my screen or not, but I could
sure.
show you what how I'm doing it. I I haven't done this. I haven't done this before, so you just click share your screen at the bottom.
Yeah. Do you have the document open that you want to share on your screen?
Yes.
Okay, then go right for it. We should see it.
All right. Do you see that?
We do.
All right. So I'm just recording basic, events that happen or that I've planned for using a Excel spreadsheet. Pretty simple. I categorize what the event was, whether it be, for me in my position, a lot of the summer months, I'm making on-farm visits or diagnosing field crop problems. So I'll put those type of events at the top. So for example, I have here like a Delaware Ag Week. Like if we did an irrigation session, that would go here. Things like the Crop Masters, which are county-based meetings, or diagnosing a problem cornfield. Those type of events would go here. Let me see if I can scroll over. Here's the demographic information for recording that, as well as the total number of participants. So obviously this is going to be different depending on what the event was, and then the location. So that pretty much gets me a number or a total for the number of contacts or direct contacts that I made. And then as far as my category, how do I categorize what work or where this fell under in the plan of work? I right now I just have like the BMP, so I don't have. But if you had more than one, you could put more than one. And I'm tracking how much time. So this is the amount of time that I would spend in that area. I also have a category for research, and then anything other, so things that don't fall under the plan of work. So I break it out. Like I said, most of them are going to fall under that on-farm visits. Any emails that require a length of time, not just everyday phone calls or emails or phone calls that are the same thing. So these would be things that really take up a lot of your time. Grants. So you would have you could have your grants listed there, and then what you did, any planning or preparation work, and maybe, and this would be the other type of work where I'm not sure if it fits under a plan of work, but I did it. So if anybody wanted to see what I did for the month of, March, for example, everything's right here.
Great. So this is on an Excel spreadsheet. Am I right about that, Philip?
Yeah, I made it in Excel. This used to be the old Excel spreadsheet, but then I changed it so that we had this a long time ago.
Okay, so then at the end of, or whenever you get to it, then you can just compile this data and put it right into the system then.
Yeah, you can just take this and then put it right into the planning and reporting system. Things like grants, I'll go ahead and add those up at the end of the year. So I have another spreadsheet where I add all my time up for that. So I can put that in one time into the planning and reporting system.
Okay. So, and are you doing this, trying to do this on a monthly basis, Philip? Or are you doing this quarterly, or how are you doing this at this point?
I have it on my calendar to do it every month, but honestly, when it gets busy, it's more like every quarter.
Okay.
So.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. But you're tracking it by the month in terms of you have it.
Yes.
You're tracking it as you go through the month. So at the end of the month, it's done. It's just a matter of when you enter it then.
Yes.
So you're tracking it as you go through, so you have it as you go through.
Yep.
Okay, great. Well, any questions for Philip in terms of what he's doing or how he's doing that? Feel free to chat or follow up with Philip. And as I said, people have different styles and different ways of doing this, and there's a variety of ways to do that. I've asked Sydney Riggy to share what she's doing, and I know that her and Amy are doing some impact indicator reporting. So Sydney, are you with us this morning? And can you do some sharing as well?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Excellent. I didn't bring any of the documents up on my laptop to share with you, but Amy is very good with this reporting, and I must admit it's taken us some time to adapt what we were recording through our evaluation process with the certification sessions and making those evaluations fit with the reporting system. So we've gone through many drafts of our evaluations. We started out using the traditional ranking topics of how people thought they learned things in our certification sessions based on a scale from 1 to 5. Well, that really doesn't lend itself to the reporting system. So we finally landed on offering people questions about what they've learned in the certification sessions, if they'll be changing anything because of the certification sessions, and also what they did before and after. So we asked them questions and we asked them to answer yes, no, or I knew some of the information but learned some new information too. So and we take these evaluations, I number them after a certification session, and I enter them into an Excel spreadsheet, and then we pull them all together at the end of the year because we use these certification sessions. We offer them throughout the year. So that's where we get the majority of our numbers from. We also offer pre and post tests based on some pretty basic things that we teach people during the certification sessions, like nitrogen management and phosphorus management, and basic things about the law. And that is very telling. It's a 10-question exam. It also prepares people that have to take the exam to kind of get in the groove of getting used to questions and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely taken us a while to make things fit.
Okay, and so you're doing that after meetings, and then how are you recording that, Sydney, then? Are you doing that on a monthly basis or quarterly? Or
well, honestly,
meetings?
Our certification sessions, since they're offered throughout the year, we enter them after the certification sessions, and then in December, we pull all the numbers together to report the certification sessions.
Great. Okay. Great. So that's another person and how they're doing it and how they're tracking. Again, if you're doing things similar, that may have some value to you as well. Thanks, Sydney, and thanks, Philip, for sharing. Emily, I think you're on. Emily, Ernest, I don't know whether you were able to share or not. Are you able to share this morning some of the things that you're doing?
I guess I have to unmute myself. Did that work?
You're unmuted now. That's
okay.
Great.
I have a spreadsheet that I use, and I will try to open it up here and share it. And let's see. Are you all still there?
We're here.
Okay, I just totally lost this screen thing. That was so weird.
The share screen is usually up at the top.
Now I've found it.
We're at the bottom. It's around for me.
All right. Okay. Soon you should see my spreadsheet.
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
In full color.
Yes. So this spreadsheet, I have the different categories under best management practices of projects I'm working on. So applied research, electronic outreach, face-to-face meetings, and then printed, all that stuff. And then under climate change, I have one project.
Not doing that.
Applied research. And then I have my days, and I try to categorize my activities based on what I did that day, and then it totals it up at the end of the month. And I have another tab here that totals my month, so that theoretically at the end of the month I should be able to print this page out and then go into the planning reporting system and put that in there. So the big thing is that I need to try to remember every day to go in here and categorize what I did.
Mhm.
I'm kind of behind for March, so.
That's okay. You can do it. We're just getting into March. We're, it's just day 4 of March, so you're
So
not too far behind, Emily.
I don't have Philip. I don't have a lot of meetings or phone calls that I deal with. So the meetings are more like specific events, and I keep track of that information somewhere else. But I don't do consulting too much on a daily basis. So keeping track of the emails and the calls are not such a big deal. It's more of what project did I spend my time on that day.
Right, right. And I see for the most part you're breaking it down in half days. In a couple of places you might break it down into a quarter a day or something. I see in terms of how finite you get in terms of reporting that. Is that about right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what we're looking for, is the big blocks of time that you're doing and keeping track of that. And recognizing in our reporting system, remember, we're only reporting 80% of our time is required. 180 days would be 80%. And reporting more than that, that's more than that. And if more than that of your time is going into plan of work, that's great. You can report over that. But we also don't want to over-report beyond the 220 days because it really if we're doing that, when I pull out the data, then it looks like we have more FTEs and extension than we do. So we really do need to keep your totals to that 220 piece if we can at maximum, so we don't over-report in terms of FTEs. So Renee says, this spreadsheet's amazing. It beats his Spiral notebook. Hey, where'd he go? We're happy to have you share your Spiral notebook, Renee, in terms of how you're doing this if you'd like to. So again, everybody has their own way. We're just sharing some ways that people are using so you can get ideas of how people are doing this and how you might go from that. Michelle's saying this would make a great template. Hey, if I'm sure, Emily, you're willing to share this. If people want to take your template and design it for themselves, they can contact you.
Fine with me.
Yep. So we don't want to prescribe one way for anybody to do this. We want folks to find their own way. So if you would like that, do follow up with Emily, and she says she's happy to share that, and that's why we're doing that. So. I already see. Send a copy to Jill, Emily, while you're at it. So,
I will do that.
So that's great, and that's why we're sharing. I also, Cheryl Bush said that she was here today, but she was unable to be here. So she did meet with me, and I want to just share my screen here and show you what she provided in terms of how she is doing this, which is another different approach. And this is Cheryl's sheet that I screened, obviously not straight. But this is something that Cheryl Bush is using. She had been keeping track of this because she works on 2 grants, an FNUP grant and a SNAP-Ed grant. And so she had already been keeping track of her time in terms of which grant she's working on and what time. She uses this also to record for her business expenses and coding this and working from that. And she's primarily working in one plan of work. So she's tracking all of that on this sheet, where she's going, and then also the activity. And then she has the coding over there in terms of that can go into what plan of work that this is, and that she's doing, and on the date, how much what activity she had. That might be 2 different plan of work or 1 plan of work, what goes in that. But she keeps this and just writes on this, something that she keeps track of, that keeps what she needs on a day-to-day basis, particularly with travels around the state and keeping track of that, as well as recording what she's doing so she can divide it by grant areas that she needs to do, but then also how it fits into the plan of work. And then Cheryl does do another sheet, which I didn't copy. She just hand writes this out and breaks some of that activity into each program area, and kind of redrafts that into which of the program areas and what specifically she's doing in those program areas. So that's that's her technique. I know there's some other folks that are on, I know there's a lot of you that are online. Is there anybody else at this point that would be willing to share what you're doing, or some other ideas? You don't have to share your screen, but would just open your audio and share what you're finding as a way to help you to track that. This is the great part about Zoom, where we can just share across the system. Other ideas? I don't want to put anybody on the spot. I know a lot of you are, there were a lot of you that we could have called upon to do this, and so if you're willing just to share, please do. Not going to hold up anyone for a long time on this, but I hope that this has been helpful sharing, and that you'll follow up with individuals if that's something that is of interest to you and of value to you. And hopefully others will share other ideas as we move forward in other ways. And I'll continue to work with you to share how we're using this data in so many ways, to how we're using the system and the data. But I will tell you right now, Jen Clem has done a great job of pulling together our report. We have compiled all the data on our report for each of the plan of work. We have how many contacts we've had, the publications that we've had. I'll be working with Christy on the web listings, as well as the web information you've provided. And it's looking great for that data that we have that's in the system that we don't have to come back and ask you for. We still go out to the researchers with that old form that some of you have been around and remember that goes back and asks them to do all this, and they have to go back across the year and pull this all together. And so for us now, it's just a matter of going in and we have all the data in the system and are getting it. So I appreciate all the efforts you've made to come on board with that. We do want to get focused on our indicator data and getting some more work in the indicator data, and we'll be exploring how to visit with you on that as well. As I said in Directors Weekly last week, I'm very pleased with some of the accomplishment reports that have been written. Some of you have gotten right into the evaluation data and being able to share impact in terms of knowledge change and attitudes, skills that people have, a little bit of behavior change, and that's where the focus of our evaluation work has been. And I would just encourage you all now that we're asking everyone to do that online impact course that's a quick tutorial of several modules, and we think that that will also enhance how we're doing our reporting. And I'll be working with Catherine as we talk about putting some of those impact stories and ways that we can utilize those impact stories to market UD Cooperative Extension with our stakeholders as well. So appreciate that. And if you haven't heard, just want to remind you that we have provided and announced this last week in Directors Weekly, that if you are at a point with a program that you would like to evaluate that program in a way you haven't been able to evaluate before, and we are talking about not an event, but a program. So for example, you're working with Joanne's familiar brown marmorated stink bug, and she has all kinds of programming work she's done in that. She's done educational programs, she's done publications. Along with Bill, they've had a lot of presentations and some fact sheets, and where you've done a number of things around the program topic. If you are at a point where you'd like to evaluate that, we're asking you to just put together a few key points about that and submit that to the leadership team. And we are going to provide some funding which would support you to have that evaluation, including referrals to other staff who may be able to bring their evaluation expertise and be able to work with you using that funding to help with evaluation expertise or with the statistical analysis or whatever part you might be able to utilize funding to help you get your evaluation data together that will further enhance our impact reporting. So if you have need of that opportunity is now open, and we hope to, the leadership team will be making some decisions about those investments. So I encourage you to think about that now as you've just finished writing those impact stories and are ready to think ahead to the future. So I'm not seeing any further chats. I appreciate the sharing that's going on today. That's really valuable. Thanks for listening to me share a number of bits of information of how we're moving forward. As always, I welcome your questions, your emails, phone calls, stopping in, and look forward to following up on any of the things we've talked about today and have further questions. It looks like we're going to move into some sunnier weather and some warmer weather next week, but for now, enjoy the beauty of this first Friday in March, and I hope you have a great weekend ahead. Thanks, everyone.